Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at this. Um, I was able to brought in all the changes and the pictures and stuff you sent back, and I think we got it pretty close. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'll do a quick fly around. I was able to spend a few minutes, and yeah, it took a little while to do this rear section. I was trying to use the divisions in the living portion, but they aren't. It was 28 foot 5.5, and I think we ought to take these beams here for sakes of money. We ought to make it 28-foot truss plant in order to get a. They were doing a 28-foot truss. They get two 14-footers to stick in the middle, but if you had 28-foot 5.5, they got to get another 14 and a 16 or something. So it costs more money to go anything, especially that's a few inches over an even foot increment. So I've got this spanned at 28 foot. I've got the gas moved around to the back, the generator, the electrical. The beams are here will have to be spanned. Perhaps once the truss plant runs the loads across this here, I can then stick the glulam beams in there. I've got them at 5x18s. We'll go and fly through this upstairs real quick. I've got a 212 on the top of this, and we had a 412 over it. This is using a scissor truss instead of a parallel, meaning that truss up top, and I'll get to that in a second, but it just means that it would be the cheaper of the two. If we pitch this one with a 412 from the back to the front, it gets twice as tall as that one. So I think in order to get these eyebrows, totally up to you guys, I think I would save the money that the parallel cords would cost you, where the inside and the outside are still 4. If you take and drop the inside pitch down to the to where you're doing 412 on the out and 212 on the in, it's less expensive of the truss to design. So that's what I've got drawn right here. We've got the floor joists that are going to have to go underneath this are 28 foot, or they're 20-foot floor joists, and it's a little bit too much to go for a 11 7/8 inch eye joist, 16 inch on center. These are it's a little bit too far to span for an 11 7. And because this is a single car garage, we don't really want to take and run a beam up the middle. My suggestion on that is to go with a 14 inch eye joist. You could reduce and go 12 inches on center with 11 7/8, but I think probably bang for the buck. If we just stick a 14 inch eye joist in there, we'll have a nice stiff floor, and we'll be able to span that 20 foot. SBS stocks a 6000 series, 9.5, 11 7/8, and a 14, and that's just over what the 11 7s will span. And this is kind of what we've got for the trusses, just standard truss roll out all the way through. This side will have a 4-foot cantilever and a 2-foot tail. That's what I've got it designed at, meaning that you'd have basically a 6-foot overhang. 4 would be a flat soffit, 2 would be sloping tail. This could be cut off if you wanted. One option you would have is you could have them terminate it 4 foot or 6 foot. You can determine what you want there. You might want it coming out smooth just to 6 foot, and then you can nail a fascia right to it, and it would be a full flat soffit. So part of that has to go with what you want it to look like on the underside of it. So I put some can lights in here. You may or may not want those, but that would be a flat, like a 3/8 soffit, rough sawn, or heck, whatever you choose. I mean, they'll use many of things. You can use vinyl soffit. You can use, they make a cool steel soffit. I think we've got the whole thing, the whole building at the T111. But I played with this. This we're going to have to. It's not that big of a deck, but it's a pretty good size span for the beam. So we will have to have a fair little beam on that. We're not carrying any roof load or whatnot. So I didn't and haven't finished that out yet. It's going to take a bigger beam than that. But on these right here, this wainscot, I would probably bring the wainscot up to the bottom of our lowest window, and that's about where we're at. You could even go less, but if you have windows that drop down in there, it's less expensive if you don't go past that because you don't have the cut around. So let's go ahead and pull off the roof on this and look inside of here. We'll start out here in the garage. Pretty simple. Didn't really firm up that. I just threw a stainless steel top in there with a couple bowls. So things started to get a little different when I started adding that new butler's wall in. So let's take a look at that and see. If we wanted to add this angled front, which I've done on several places, we got to come out the cabinet depth over here and the fridge. So we're pushing this 45 away from the wall. We were going to take this butler's room originally, since the door opened out on this, I think over here on the cabinet, we were going to dump this bay of cabinets on this outside wall. But by moving this door and doing this style right here, it may work better by we'll have to look and see. I threw it in the best I could. The cabinet choices, the colors, you guys will have to go to a cabinet shop and grab one of their doors and find out who it is. And I just grabbed a color, and there's so many. Hopefully we're close. I want to get the tone in here to have it look kind of like what you guys would be after. Absolutely not going to get it perfect. The best thing to do is to hit one of the cabinet shops and grab one. They'll let you take a door with them. Usually they get a door and a piece of flooring and that type of stuff. But either way, even if we find out the manufacturer and the color, I can go look at that. But like this right here, let me take and crack this door open a little bit. If we do this door like that, as you can tell here, we've got all the cabinets on this side. But in order to create that, you've got to come out the 2 foot to tuck the cabinet in, and you've got to cut out the 2 foot to tuck this one in. So there's you can grab this door or this wall and you can pull it out and kind of control how much of it's going to be in there. But this typically comes out 2 foot on both sides and 45s it over. So this is a fairly typical width. I think it's about 5 foot. Yeah. So 5 foot from the outside of the wall to the inside. That 45 gets us that look. So let's pop down here. Oh, I got a mirror put in there. Let me get rid of that. Sorry, guys. Yeah, mirrors are crazy when you put them in here. But that would give the look and the walk through like that. So you come in with your groceries, grab all your grub, come through the hall, and you'd be dumping it either into the butler room right there or bringing your milk and eggs right on into the kitchen. I'm not sure if we got the island out there where you want it. I've got some dimensions in there. Doing this brought it about 5 feet in, like I say, so it slid the whole kitchen down. Maybe that is what we want. Maybe it isn't what we want. But to get that 45, if it is where we want to go, let's go ahead and look and see. I might have to tuck this back in somehow to not push our kitchen over, but take a look and see how that turned out, guys. This right here built in over here, I'll probably just take, and on the plans somewhere, I'll do a little line over to your little the built-in that you guys want to do over here for your for the entry bench, which I think is a great idea. Sometimes the best way to do it is to refer to a drawing or something, say this is what I want right here, and we would refer to that picture, which I've got a plan called the working plan, and I've dumped all these pictures you guys sent. Thank you, by the way. These are helpful. Maybe help me weed out ones that we may not be using. This was one of the first ones. This is a first one. And we can kind of get rid of the ones that we don't want in there. This one would be the big one that would go down, and we would supersize that or something as we near the end so that they know this is kind of what you're expecting. That's what you want. So, and again, with the doors, you guys are going to have to make sure that you coordinate what you're getting for doors, which you're already totally on that. But we'll get to that. This right here, I brought this in for the picture. I went online and I found that as far as an inset, maybe you can let me know how you plan on doing that. Maybe if you're going to set it out from the wall and do a tile edge and a tile surround. Right now I've got it tucked in tight. I know it's probably not going to be exactly like that. Let's take and pop in over there and look at that. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Let me throw a different camera on and we'll see if we can get over and look at that. I don't know if this has got some type of a glass door on it or what. I think I can put a glass door. Whether you want one there or not, it's totally up to you. Let's see. I go to door, and then the last one there is a shower. I don't know if we'd even put one there. Doing the 45, to me, at this, it didn't look too crowded to get in there. I just want to make sure this is indeed what you guys want. Whether you have a cabinet on this one here, a linen, I hate to do too much there, maybe some shelves and a bench over here or something. As it is, it turned out to where it wasn't too crowded in there. I thought it turned out nice. I've got a 9-inch vanity on each side, and I would probably make both of these drawer banks like that. So you get the toothpaste and the toothbrushes on the two side ones. There we go. That should have changed to a, here we go. Yeah. So we've got the regular drawer bases on each side. Then let's take a look at this, the bathroom room in between. We do have the one pocket door here. And at the end here, I'll throw it into a glass house and we'll take a look at the how the continuity is in the flow. Okay, let's pop over into the master bedroom real quick. I want to look and see, as I was studying the plan, looking at this entry and the hallway, my thoughts were, previously we had this right here, what I made into a closet was a hallway. And I understand maybe it's not even an option, but instead of putting the door to the bedroom, instead of putting it here, if we could somehow put it there, and that may not be an option, I realize that, I thought that having a full his and hers closet might be worth moving it over there. It's totally up to you. If we move the door over here, you'd have a two totally separate walk-in closets or one big one. It's quite a bit of space. I feel bad when we have hallways like that are just an entryway. But sometimes that's a sacrifice if we're trying to keep this wall open for all the entryway. That could be even slid in a little bit further, bumped like that, so we make sure and have this. But that's one thing I wanted to run over with you guys. And hopefully the study craft room turned out kind of like what you're after. I just grabbed a color similar to what you had shown on the color deal and painted all of them. So pop the roof up once, and I'm going to take a look at the kitchen. These sinks, excuse me. When we're looking at this here, it's probably going to be best looking at it from the actual print, because with the print, we're going to see on that we've got, I think 42 inches is what I've got back and forth here. But this is getting pretty a ways away, and I think there's some rules of thumb. They don't want, I mean, they've got a triangle. I think they like to go from here to the dishwater. Oh, okay, we've got two different Well, from the sink to the range to the refrigerator, I think there's a 17-foot rule or something like that. But we're 42 here, 42 here. We've got a 36-inch base is kind of what it looked like we had on the picture that was sent over. And I basically tried to replicate that. We'll go take a look at that picture if my computer doesn't crash. Okay, it looks like it let go. Let's change the camera. Okay. So I've got the standard 24-inch deep bases all the way across. Then I do a 45-degree one. And then over here, we've got two back-to-back. It looks like what they had. So, and then you might want to put, like this one here is where I put your garbage pull-out, which would be like a 2-drawer pull-out. The one I have in my kitchen is it's got a drawer above the top of it. It puts a full single drawer up there. I find myself pulling out the drawer to throw stuff in the garbage, but I love my garbage pull-out. So that's where I had put that. When you go get your kitchens designed, and you have to buy them. So typically when you go buy your cabinets, you talk to the cabinet person and they for free design them. And they throw in their 2 cents of, they know what they're doing, which is nice. I learned from them guys. So let's close this door here. And when you said pantry door, maybe you didn't even mean you wanted the thing bumped out like that. Some people have full blown. That's what their kitchen cupboard is. And when I go transition from the wall to the fridge, I have to put in a cabinet because the door will not open. The fridge door does not like to be up in the corner there. So I don't know if you want one of these. This is the pot filler. Pretty popular. I know when they did my kitchen, they took these and they went like this, and I think they had popped some of them out. Instead of 12, they made them 15 inches deep. So they did some weird stuff on my kitchen that I thought it looked pretty cool. I would have never known, but I'm not a kitchen guy. So let's go into the bathroom, take a look at this one. This is basically a stained concrete. It's like I've seen some of these floors that look really good, and the homeowners have been doing them themselves. So I just, when you guys come across the tiles, let me know, and I can throw, maybe not, putting it in these 3Ds isn't how anybody's going to build it. I like to try to find out what color you want, whether this is like a travertine, and if you guys come up with a, excuse me, a tile kind that you like, I can put it on our finishes page, and that'll help everybody dial in or know, especially if you have different tiles going in different bathrooms, we can get that handled so that you can be out to lunch while the tile guy's doing this stuff and not mess it up. I think this is pretty close to what you were looking for as far as this little laundry done. I like that. I haven't done anything like that before. But let's see if I did anything in here. I think I did add the 2 9-inch bases to the side of this. And I usually like to do that just because that's a place to throw the curling iron, blow dryer, toothpaste. Okay. So, I think that's it, guys. Everything else should be in the plan. The one thing I was concerned with, of course, is the floor joist over here. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. I would likely just roll. I just wanted to run that by you. Maybe you got something else. Everybody's got an opinion, and I just wanted to put that in your ballpark that these 11 7/8 aren't going to span without a center beam. And a lot of times I can put a post and a beam in a garage, but ours is pretty little. So we're kind of at that rule. I mean, I guess I could run one left to right and span from the back to the front. There's other ways to do it. I could put a beam in the middle from this side over to the house, and then span from the front the 15 feet and then the back, and that's at 15 instead of that's doable with 11 7. And that might be cheaper than going with the 14-inch side joist. I just don't know. And this shows kind of what we've got going for those trusses up there. All right, guys, let's go ahead and we'll wrap this up. I'll talk to you on the flip side. Take a look at the layouts, see if everything looks good. Pay attention to any notes and stuff that you would like me to put on that. Like the water bibs, we want to nail them in. Light locations, can lights, soffits, things I missed, motion lights, that type of stuff. Get back to me, man. Have a great day.